My apologies. Yes, thank you, Typhon. I got muted. So let me say this again. Hello, hello, morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Fighter Strike here. Part 3 of our 50 states and 50 streams. We're here in beautiful Wisconsin here today. We're in Door County in Washington Island Airport. That's where we are here today. So that's what we're here to do today. We're going to do some GA flying across the U.S. state of Wisconsin. Before we get started, I do want to say hello to everyone in chat. Super Typhon, good to see you. Thank you for pointing out it was muted. Saved me a lot of embarrassment for that. So thank you. So thank you for saving me from the absolute embarrassment of doing so. So our flight plan for today will take us through pretty much a lot of the eastern half of Wisconsin. So we'll get started here in Washington Island. We're going to fly from Washington Island in Door County. We'll fly through much of Door County before going into Green Bay. We're going to fly downtown Green Bay. And we'll mainly fly over one of the most iconic parts of Wisconsin at Lambeau Field, home of the Green Bay Packers. Probably enjoying the state. Then we'll make our first stop here at Appleton Airport, while we're downtown Appleton. Then for leg 2, we'll head down to Lake Winnebago. We're going to check out the iconic Oshkosh in Whitman Field, where they did the EAA Adventures. Then from there, we'll head west. We'll check out the water park hotspot of Wisconsin Dells. We'll check out Wisconsin Dells. Should be an absolutely gorgeous area. Then we'll head south over to Middleton Municipal Airport, just outside of Madison, Wisconsin. And then we're going to go through to Madison before heading east and making our way over to the largest city in Wisconsin, Milwaukee. We'll fly over downtown Milwaukee and make our stop at the historic Lawrence G. Timmerman Airport, just north of downtown. So that is where we're going to be flying here today. Like I said, thanks again, Typhon, for kind of pointing that out. I was a bit of a big Egypt. I kind of forget about some things too. But Murph's not the only one who can be an Egypt. I can do that. So the plane we'll be flying here today is actually a new one for the sim. This is the MX Aircraft MXS. This aerobatic aircraft built by the MX Aircraft Company out of Australia. Very successful race. It's a race variant of an air race plane flown by the Red Bull Air Race Championship for low-wing monoplanes, and has won entire decades of aerobatic championships, including pilot Rob Holland, who unfortunately passed away just 3 days ago. But it can cruise up to 180 knots, range of about 750 nautical miles. And its roll rate is 420 degrees a second. It's super aerobatic. So, it's not a traditional plane today, but I thought something a little different besides your normal GA. Not often you fly anything other than standard. So we're flying in Door County, Wisconsin is where we're at right now. Is Door County, Wisconsin. This is where we're at right now as we speak. So Door County is considered to be the Cape Cod of the Midwest. It's the easternmost county in Wisconsin. But one of the interesting things about Door County is it's named after the strait between the Door Peninsula and Washington Island. And this passage is known as Death's Door. It contains shipwrecks and was known to Native Americans and early French explorers. It's known as the Cape Cod of the Midwest due to the fact it's Very popular for tourism, and it's the 8th largest in terms of economic impact in the state of Wisconsin. Some of the attractions here, most people visit this area from metro areas like Milwaukee, Chicago, Madison, Green Bay, and the Twin Cities. And popular things to do include 6 state parks to visit, lots of lakes to visit, lighthouses. It has a rich Scandinavian heritage. A lot of people like to visit this area during the summertime. So we're going to go ahead and head off. And we're off. The nice thing about this being aerobatic is, well, being aerobatics, it's really great for the aerobatic. This is Door County, Wisconsin. We're flying over today. Beautiful part of the state. Yeah, all this is part of Washington Island. This little island's about 7 miles northeast. 708 people live here year-round, and it's mainly known for tourism. And you can find some shipwrecks in this area, including the Port de Morts. Wow. People call slack here in Wisconsin. So for next week, I have some interesting stuff next week. So for next week's store streams, are coming in within the next week or so. So for next week, I have a couple things for streams coming up next week. So next Wednesday, which is going to be this upcoming Wednesday, will be. I'm thinking about taking the Cessna Sky Courier out for some cargo flights. I believe I'm going to do some flights into out of Zurich. I believe doing some cargo ops with the Sky Courier to Austria, I believe, or maybe doing some cargo flights out of Italy, going to do some flying from Milan over to Pisa, Milan to Florence, and then Florence over to some of the other airports. I thought that would be really nice to spend a Wednesday flight. I want to check out the Cessna Sky Courier for a bit. I thought that would be a fun little plane to take on for the trip. And then, of course, on Friday and Sunday, we'll be back. We'll be visiting California. We'll be taking the TBM. We'll take the TBM over to over California on next Friday. And finally, for Sunday, well, I have a concert on Saturday night. I have a concert on Saturday night in Nashville, Tennessee. And we're going to be, it depends on how late we're going to stay over for the night. I might stream Sunday. I am probably going to stream Sunday, but it's going to be pretty late, however. We may not get back to like 12 o'clock. If that's the case and we don't get back to 12, I will stream, but it might be later in the day. So I'll just let you guys know what's going to go on Sunday. But I'm definitely going to stream. If not, that'll be the Wednesday afterward to make up for it. So that is what we're going to do on Wednesday. So that's going to be just next week's planned streams. Just keep in mind what Sunday's going to be like. The California stream will still be next Friday, of course. But for Sunday, it could be anyone's guess. let you guys know. I hope you guys appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and fly over, talk a little bit about Wisconsin for a bit as we fly across Door County. Let's go back. The U.S. state of Wisconsin. Very interesting state here we're going to be talking about here today. So Wisconsin is one of the upper Great Lakes, upper states of the upper Midwest, bordered by Minnesota to the west, Iowa to the east, Iowa to the southwest, Illinois to the south, Lake Michigan to the east, Michigan to the northeast because of the Upper Peninsula, and Lake Superior to the north. With a population around 6 million people, an area of 65,000 square miles, Wisconsin's the 20th largest state in population and 23rd largest state by land area. Its most populous city is Milwaukee. Its capital and second most populous city is Madison, with other urban areas being Green Bay, Kenosha, Racine, Eau Claire, and the Fox cities. It has a diverse geography shaped by ice age glaciers. And in fact, Wisconsin's third to Ontario and Michigan in terms of Great Lakes coastline. Of course, a lot of people know Wisconsin as a major center for a lot of German and Scandinavian American culture, particularly that with cuisine like bratwurst and the kringle, which is basically a type of pretzel. And Wisconsin is one of the nation's leading dairy producers. It's known as America's Dairyland, one of its official nicknames. Famous for its cheese and for beer, thanks to Milwaukee having some of the most permissive alcohol laws. Tourism is also a big deal as well. So yeah, lots of different stuff. So let's talk a little bit about the history of Wisconsin as we're going to be flying through this area. So in terms of history, Wisconsin has been home to a wide variety of cultures over the past 14,000 years. The first people who arrived this area were around 10,000 BCE during the Wisconsin glaciation, and they were Paleo-Indians. They hunted the now extinct Ice Age animals, such as the Boaz mastodon that was found in Boaz, Wisconsin. And then they transitioned more to agricultural societies, followed the Archaic period, and the Woodland period became more of it as well. And Wisconsin was actually known by the end of the Woodland period as the heartland of the effigy mound culture, as they built thousands of these mounds all across the landscape. Then you have the Mississippian and Oneida cultures, building substantial settlements around the fortified villages. And other Native American groups that also lived here besides the Menominee tribes include the Ojibwe, Sauk, Meskwaki, Kickapoo, and Potawatomi tribes that migrated to Wisconsin from the east between 1500 and 1700. So, the first European to visit what is now Wisconsin was probably the French explorer Jean Nicolet, and he canoed west from Georgian Bay to the Great Lakes in 1634, and it's traditionally assumed he came ashore near Green Bay at Wet Banks. A few other explorers also visited the Green Bay area again, doing fur trade with the local tribes. Some Frenchmen like Nicolas Perrault continued to ply the fur trade across Wisconsin during the 17th and 18th century, but the French made no permanent settlements in Wisconsin before Britain won the region. So yes, eventually though, once the British took control of Wisconsin, they gained control of the Green Bay area in 1761 and gained control of in 1763. And the first major settlement in Wisconsin was Marinette. And basically became the first major settlement. And of course, the most important settlement that was in Wisconsin at the time was Green Bay. Oh, hey, we have a follow from Letsky22. Thank you for the follow, my dude. Sorry about that. I was looking at my slide. I hope you're having a great day here today. We're flying over Wisconsin. We're flying over the Badger State. We were just talking a little bit about the history of Wisconsin. Of course, after the American Revolution, Wisconsin became a territorial possession of the United States after the Treaty of Paris. It became part of the Northwest Territory 4 years later. And it shifted through various different territories, including the Indiana Territory, the Illinois Territory, and the Michigan Territory. However, the British remained in control until after the War of 1812. and under American control, the economy of the territory shifted from fur trading to lead mining, due to all the lead mines found all over what is now Wisconsin. Of course, a lot of the miners found shelter in the holes they dug, so it's what led to Wisconsin's nickname, the Badger State, just like badgers. And as a result, there were also, as a result of all these miners, there was also tension with the native population, resulting in the Winnebago War of 1827 and the Black Hawk War of 1832, which culminated in the forced removal of Native Americans from most parts of the state. Following the conflicts, Wisconsin Territory was created as an act of U.S. Congress in 1836 on April 20th. By the fall of the year, the West Prairie groves of the county surrounding Milwaukee was now occupied by farmers. What further helped Wisconsin was the Erie Canal, which facilitated the travel of both Yankee settlers and European immigrants to Wisconsin. And as a result, many of them settled here in Wisconsin, places like Racine, Deloitte, Burlington, and Janesville. And of course, let's not forget all the European immigrants, especially the German, Irish, and Norwegian settled in this area. Wisconsin became a state in May 29, 1848, as the 30th state in the country. Yes, so it's state number 30, guys. One of the big parts of Wisconsin was much of Wisconsin politics early on was about the debate over slavery. As a free state, it became a center for northern abolitionism, and it became especially tense in 1854 after Joshua Glover was captured in Racine, and he was actually able to escape. And in fact, the Republican Party actually got started here in Wisconsin, as it was founded March 20th, 1854, by anti-slavery expansion activists in Wisconsin. So yes, the Republican Party was actually founded here in Wisconsin. During the American Civil War, Wisconsin was pretty notable for sending around 91,000 troops to the Union, and one of those units was the Iron Brigade, which was a major fight during the Civil War. After the war, Wisconsin's economy diversified. The lead mine declined, but agriculture became a big part in the southern half of the state, with railroads being a big piece. And beginning in the 1890s, farmers shifted from wheat to dairy production to make more sustainable, profitable use of the land, and many immigrants carried their cheese-making traditions that made Wisconsin America's dairy land. And also the forest also helped been established too during the early 20th century. During the 20th century, it was the emergence of progressive politics that made Wisconsin a pretty progressive state. Union. Wisconsin's definitely known for many political firsts in the United States. They included the station's first statewide primary election system, the first workplace injury compensation law, and the first state first income tax, which are all things, many of which are still applied to the country today. During World War I, however, due to the neutrality of Wisconsin and many Republicans, progressives, and German immigrants made of the population, Wisconsin would gain the nickname the Traitor State, which has been used by hyper-patriots during World War I. And it makes sense considering Germany was on one of the opposite sides, and Wisconsin had a lot of German immigrants. Kind of makes sense why that nickname had to come. Of course, Wisconsin was also a center of the anti-war movement with Robert M. L. Follett. However, even outspoken opposed to the war, Wisconsinites would abandon neutrality and enjoy the prosperity from the war. Eventually, though, World War II, and the progressive Wisconsin idea was also applied through many other regions of Wisconsin. Other Wisconsin idea scholars also applied as well with many other deals. And basically, the Wisconsin idea, for those that don't know, is on policies and emphasis on education and for its role in the habits. Of course, World War II happened, and eventually many Wisconsinites were divided on things like the United Nations, European recovery, in the growth of the Soviet Union. And Wisconsin was also involved in several political extremes, ranging from Wisconsin Senator Joseph McCarthy in the 1950s to the radical anti-war protests, which culminated in the Sterling Hall bombing of 1970. And they undertook welfare reform in the 90s and also more to serve as economies. Wisconsin, again, was also involved in other controversies too, mainly in 2011 for Scott Walker, which took large changes in areas of collective bargaining, compensation, retirement, health insurance, and sick public leave for a lot of workers. So yes, that is Wisconsin's history of the U.S. state of Wisconsin. This here is Sturgeon Bay. This is one of the major communities in Door County. Here is Sturgeon Bay. Tons of resorts around this area. If you guys ever visit Door Bay, here's some Door County pictures. Yeah, it's the northwest Cape Cod of the Midwest. Beautiful coast, all that sort of stuff. So, we're just 30 nautical miles. We're about 30 something nautical miles to Green Bay, Wisconsin. Go Pack. Yeah, there was a new achievement as well. I got to complete one achievement yesterday, and now I'm starting on another one. I'll have to complete that after stream. So, yeah, this weekend's been pretty good. There's been some stuff going on. Currently into us. So yeah, the NFL draft just ended, and here's some crazy things that happened. So you guys are aware about the NFL draft. Shedeur Sanders, the son of Deion Sanders, he apparently dropped. Some people thought he was going to be first round, but instead he dropped all the freaking way to. He dropped all the way to the 5th round to be taken by the Browns. definitely pretty interesting stuff here. So that's definitely some other interesting stuff. Um, I know I have to keep doing it, but it's just hard sometimes when you have no autopilots. So the NBA playoffs happened more last night. So the first series was won yesterday as the Thunder beat the Grizzlies, and they now win the series 4-0, which isn't a surprise by 2 points, but still, Oklahoma City sweeps the Grizzlies. Cavaliers beat the Heat, so they're up 3-0. The Bucks beat the Pacers in Game 3 on Friday, which is not good. Minnesota leads the series 2-1 against the Lakers. The Magic beat the Celtics, so they win Game 3 on Friday. The Warriors beat Rockets, so they're up 2-1 in the Rockets, and then the Nuggets Clippers series, it's all tied in 2 yesterday. Nuggets beat the Clippers. So pretty big stuff for the NBA. In Premier League stuff, Everton really dropped the ball on the matchup against Chelsea. They've lost again. Chelsea, not a good result. Also, Ipswich Town is also relegated. They've converted to be relegated. They lost to Newcastle 3-0. And then right now is Bournemouth. They're beating Manchester United right now 1-0 at the 76th minute. Yep. Looks like it's going to be relegation time for Ipswich, so that's going to be confirmed. That's pretty big. In the NHL, of course, the National Hockey League playoffs since Friday. The Golden Knights tied the series yesterday. The Senators avoid the sweep on Game 4, beating the Maple Leafs 4-3 in overtime. On Friday, the Kings currently the Oilers take an important game in Game 3, and the Lightning also take one too on yesterday. The Canadiens got a win in Game 3, and so did the Devils. But yes, and then finally the Avalanche Star Series, the Avalanche tied the series. They be very important for many teams to get a good win here today for the Stanley Cup. So we're going to be heading near Green Bay, Wisconsin. Let's go ahead and talk about some notes about Green Bay, Wisconsin. So for Green Bay, this city is the county seat of Brown County, Wisconsin. Population 107,000. It's the third most populous city in the state. And also, it's the third most populous city in Lake Michigan. It was founded by Samuel D. Champlain, founded this area. But of course, this area was around. It was originally a trading post from the French, but it became a major settlement during the British. But Green Bay, Wisconsin was most well known for being a major area for a lot of settlers to arrive, thanks to the Erie Canal. And Green Bay is definitely famous for a lot of immigrants. It was also known as the toilet paper capital of the world, thanks to the paper industry here in the city, as it's home to some of the first paper companies in the city, and it's also home to several historic theaters and historical buildings, including the Meyer Theater, Tarleton Theater, and the Hotel Northland. But of course, if you want to talk about Green Bay, we need to talk about its most famous landmark in the city. Yes, it's a football stadium, but not just any football stadium. Lambeau Field, home with the Packers, second largest stadium in the NFL that hosts around 81,000 people. And the stadium name was named after founder of the Packers, Earl Lambeau, who it's also the oldest continuously operated NFL stadium, as it's been open since 1957. It's still here to this day. And it's actually really well known for having some rich traditions, including the famous Lambeau Leap, which Packer players leap jump into the end zone after scoring a touchdown. It's home to several other events, including college football games, hockey matchups, snowmobile racing, concerts, even a soccer friendly. Very important stuff. Lambeau Field, really one of the great cathedrals of American football. Also, here's a fun fact about the Packers you guys may not be aware of, but the Green Bay Packers are actually owned by the community. In fact, it is the only American sports team to be owned by the community. That's usually something you see more in Europe, not in the United States. So here we are, guys. Green Bay, Wisconsin. Here's downtown Green Bay, Wisconsin. Here's downtown. So here it is, guys. Mighty Lambeau Field, home of the Pack. Here's Mighty Lambeau Field, home of the Pack. Oh yeah, and the Packers are one of the most historic franchises in American football. They still are in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Green Bay is like the smallest city to have an NFL team, if not any professional major league team. Green Bay is like the smallest city to have one. Let's blitz through out here. Yeah, it's very torquey. It's got a lot of torque in the engine. There's a lot of torque in that engine. Yeah, that's why I keep sliding to the left. That's why I have to keep holding on to it. But yeah, the Packers, really interesting team. Like I said, the Green Bay Packers are the only non-profit, community-owned major league sports team based in the United States. And they were one of the last of the small town teams that were common back in the old days. And they were also one of the most successful sports franchises in the NFL, winning 13 league championships, including 9 free Super Bowl NFL titles and 4 Super Bowl championships. And of course, the namesake of the Super Bowl trophy is named after the guy who won the first 2 trophies, Vince Lombardi. If I ever do an NFL series, I would like to cover the Packers. Yeah, some legendary folks to play in the. wanted to try something different. So we're going to hit to Appleton next. Is Appleton, Wisconsin will be our next stop. So Appleton's located in Outagamie County, Wisconsin. It's located in the Fox River, 30 miles southwest of Green Bay, Wisconsin. Population 75,000, which is the 6th most populous city in Wisconsin. And it's part of the Greater Fox Cities region of Wisconsin, which also includes other cities like Neenah, Minshaw, and a few others. But Appleton's the big city in that region. Home to it is the heart of the Fox River Valley, which includes Lawrence University, the Fox Cities Exhibition Center, Fox Cities Performing Arts Center, Fox River Mall, Neuroscience Group Field of Fox Cities Stadium, Appleton International Airport, and several major hospitals. Also hosts regional events like Oktoberfest and the Mile of Music. Are other events held here in the city. This area was mainly founded settled in 1835 and was named after Samuel Appleton, American merchant, philanthropist, and active in various states. Of course, Appleton was more well known for building hydroelectric stations, Fox Rivers, and historically was always known. And nowadays, its biggest service employers are mainly the healthcare system, financials, and more. But its most popular tourist attraction, the Hearthstone Historic House Museum, a 4-story mansion that was the first house in the U.S. to be powered by hydroelectricity in 1881. So pretty cool stuff here at Little Appleton. And we'll be flying to Appleton International Airport. That will be our first stop of the day. So Appleton International will be our first stop of the day, located in Greenville, Wisconsin, 3 miles west of Appleton. It's a small hub airport, and it's the 3rd busiest of all of the 8 commercial airports in Wisconsin. And it's one of the it was at one point one of the fastest growing airports in the United States. And it was mainly based of the privately owned Air Wisconsin. The air track, however, gets the most traffic during EA's AirVenture, as it is one of the closest airports to Appleton. It's also used for people heading to Green Bay to watch the Packers. They fly into Appleton rather than fly directly into Green Bay Airport. And this airport has been around since the 1920s. Nowadays, Appleton flies mainly on Allegiant Air to places like Fort Lauderdale, Las Vegas, Nashville, Newark, and a few others. But it flies to mainly destinations scattered across the country, but mainly on the eastern half of the country. So that's Appleton for you. Here's the Fox River. Take us to Appleton. So for this week of Merch streams, he'll be back. He'll be back streaming again tomorrow. He'll be doing another FAA IFR procedures for their FAA conversion course for U.S. flights. So he'll be doing all that for IFR departure out of Boston. And then Tuesday he'll be doing some trucking in Switzerland. He better not get into more wrecks, as he usually does. That's Murph for you. Most crashes involve Larry, though. Yes, especially crashing Skodas. That would be especially a big one. Is if the Skodas get crashed instead. Main reason I'm not doing a lot of external views is because, well, this plane likes to turn to the left. Like I said, it's an aerobatic plane. It's not meant to be aerodynamically stable. Here it is, guys. Appleton. Appleton, Wisconsin. Mm. Hey, good to see you, John DFW. Yes, this is default scenery. Yep, it is default, my dude. It definitely is pretty nice out here. This is the Fox River. We're about to make our first stop here at Appleton, here in beautiful Wisconsin. We're going to land at runway 30. Hey, we have a follow from Arrow745PT. Good to see you. Thank you for the follow. We're about to land here in Wisconsin for our first leg of the day. Oh, nice. I hope you have a good time with MSFS 2024. So we're about to make our land. Yeah, this has no flats. I gotta be a little careful about landing her. Try to bleed off as much speed as I can out of this thing. Down she goes. That was a really smooth land. I bet. Negative 37 degrees. Negative 37 feet per minute. Oh. This is Appleton International Airport here in Appleton, Wisconsin. We're going to stay here for just a little bit if you guys want to catch on up and fly along with us. We're on the Southeast Asia server. So yeah, I hope you guys had a good weekend. I hope you guys had some good things this weekend. Weekend's going pretty well for me. Just try to chill, enjoy my time. Can't wait for next week. I'm going to be going to a concert in Nashville. Watch Metallica. Yeah, absolutely amazing. This upcoming week, the next one. We're going to go ahead and prepare for the next leg. We're going to head on to our next leg. Like I said, this point does not need much of a runway to take off. Problem is, it doesn't have flaps. Not really good for. So our next waypoint will take us over to Oshkosh, Wisconsin. You guys, this community is 66,000 people. It's the ninth most populous city in Wisconsin, and it's adjacent to Oshkosh to the north. And it's named after Menominee Chief Oshkosh, which his name meant claw. And while fur trade was a big part of this area, instead mining ended up being a big thing for it, and especially the wood industry was a big deal and helped make Oshkosh pretty much one of the major players in Wisconsin's wood industry. And spurred a lot of development in this area. Oshkosh, fun enough, also was notable for playing basketball. The Oshkosh All-Stars have reached the championship final 5 times during their basketball days. However, you all better know Oshkosh for being the site of the EAA AirVenture. Which, if you guys aren't aware about EAA AirVenture, it's basically the big thing that attracts the most tourists of any place. And basically, if you guys aren't aware about EAA AirVenture, it is the world's biggest flying in the air show on the globe. It's held every summer at Whitman Regional Airport. The other part of the show is mainly for Seaplane Base. And it's arranged by the Experimental Aircraft Association. And it's the largest kind of its world, and it lasts an entire week. This year it starts in July 21st and ends July 27th. In 2024, over 686,000 people visit, and during the gathering, its tower frequency is the busiest in the world. And this was established back in 1953. And I mean, they have a lot of shows and stuff. And it was mainly used for home build. And at the time, EAA was known for home building, but has grown to every aspect of aviation, from recreational to commercial to military aviation, astronautics, and aeronautics as well. And the help of this convention was grown by Paul Perensky's son, Tom, who became chairman of the event. And as a result, this is a really cool event. Some really cool stuff. I would love to attend an EA. Oh, nice, you on air. Oh, nice. Hope you enjoyed doing that. That sounds pretty cool. I mainly fly with Merce Group, Firefly Air. That's what I mainly use for my career thing. Is with Firefly Air, because I've been one of the top pilots on it, historically been for many years. Though nowadays I'm especially with more space on my hard drive, I'm starting to do other stuff. Mainly, I've been trying to work on. Just mainly want to try working on my own stuff. I'm trying to work on some travel guides at home. That's taking a bit of my time. Okay, here's our town of Oshkosh coming up. Here's Oshkosh. And we have it's either be EA or Venture site. Here's Oshkosh, yeah, the town itself. And there's the site of the EA or Venture Whitman Regional. There's our Oshkosh site where they host the event. May not look like much now, but wait till EA or Venture comes by and this place becomes packed. So. So hear about Wisconsin's geography. One of the more interesting things about Wisconsin's geography is with its location in the Great Lakes and all that. One of the more unique things about Wisconsin is its geography. Because it's thanks to the location between the Great Lakes and the Mississippi River, it's home to a wide variety of geographical features, and the state has 5 distinct regions. To the north, you have the Lake Superior lowland. To the south, you have the Northern Highland, which has massive mixed hardwood and coniferous forests, as well as thousands of glacial lakes. In the middle of the state, you have the Central Plain, which has some unique sandstone formations in addition to rich farmland. Then you have the Eastern Ridges and Lowlands, which is home to the largest cities. And far to the west, is the Western Upland, a rugged landscape with a mix of forest and farmland and many bluffs across the Mississippi River. Hey, good to see you, Ringbolt. No worries about working. That's perfectly fine, my dude. Also, one of the other really interesting things about Wisconsin, is its geology. You see, Wisconsin has some geologic deposits that vary from 3 billion years old to several thousand years. Some of the oldest formations were created over 600 years ago in the Precambrian period. And of course, much of Wisconsin's landscape was shaped by glaciers, which aloft flattened the mountains, carved bedrock, and deposited sand in the region. well. And the state has more than 12,008 rivers and streams, total 84,000 miles in length. Large inland lake is Lake Winnebago, which we actually flew past. But also, there's over islands here in the region as well. So in terms of climate as well, Wisconsin is classified as worst summer humid continent climate, while southern and southwest is more hot summer humid continental climate. The highest temperature recorded in the state was actually Wisconsin Dells, where it reached 114 degrees. The lowest temperature recorded is a lot lower than you'd think. It's negative 55 degrees Fahrenheit on both February 4th and February 2nd and 4th, 1996. Wisconsin also receives a large number of snowfall, especially up in the Lake Superior snow belt each year, which goes up to 160 inches. Which, again, lake effect, the big reason for a lot of snow. Or lake effect reason. So that's about Wisconsin's geography and climate. Goes a lot toward the left and all that. Up here. So we're going to head our way over to Wisconsin Dells. Oh my gosh, Manchester United got a point. Hmm. So in terms of Wisconsin's economy, though, let's talk about the economy of Wisconsin for a bit. So economically speaking, Wisconsin's economy is gross state product is 21st among U.S. states in 2023 with $413 billion. The economy was mainly driven by manufacturing, agriculture, and tourism. Per capita, the income was around $61,000. And its unemployment rate is around 3% lower than average for unemployment rate. And there are 8 companies based in Wisconsin on the Fortune 500, including Northwest Mutual, First Serve, Manpower Group, Rockwell Automation, in the WEC Energy Group, as well as Kohl's, American Family Insurance, and Oshkosh Corporation are on the Fortune 500. Of course, manufacturing's been a bigger deal here in the state than it has been in other areas throughout the years. Mainly the big part about Wisconsin has been manufacturing. It was approximately 500,000 in 2015. However, it declined as a share due to other industries like agriculture and tourism. Major Wisconsin companies in manufacturing include Kohler, Mercury Marine, Rockwell Automation, Johnson Controls, John Deere, Briggs & Stratton, Milwaukee Electric Tool Company, Miller Electric, Caterpillar, Oshkosh Corporation, Harley-Davidson, S.C. Johnson, Son, Ariens, and Evinrude Outboard Motors are all the manufacturing things here in the state of Wisconsin. Of course, it also has a significant lumber industry as well, historically been a major producer of paper and packaging. Wisconsin ranks first nationwide in the production of paper products, thanks to the lower Fox River having 24 different paper mills along its 39-mile stretch. And also food processing is a big deal with brands like Oscar Mayer, Tombstone, Johnsonville, and Businger Sausage. Kraft Foods alone employs more than 5,000 people in the States. Milwaukee is a major producer of beer. So, yeah. Manufacturing is pretty important here in the U.S. state of Wisconsin. Of course, Wisconsin's also a significant deal in terms of agriculture. Agriculture is a big part of Wisconsin. After all, Wisconsin produces about a quarter of America's cheese production. And after California, it's second total in milk production as well, after California, and third in per capita milk production behind California and Vermont. It's second in the country in butter production, produces about 1/4 of the nation's butter. And of course, Wisconsin requires cheese and butter makers to hold a license, which is the only state in the U.S. to require a certification for cheese and butter. Outside of dairy, of course, the state ranks first production for corn for silage, cranberries, ginseng, and snap beans for processing. It grows more than half of the national crop of cranberries and 97% of the nation's ginseng. Wisconsin's also a lead producer of oats, potatoes, carrots, tart cherries, maple syrup, and sweet corn for processing. And the fact is, the significance of agro production is exemplified by the depiction of a Holstein cow, an Iroquois wheel cheese, and the state border design. So yes, dairy is really important, and like I said, agriculture has been a historical life staple of Wisconsin's economic output. If you guys want to check out more of my VODs, I have a channel for them. And finally, for economy is going to be tourism. Tourism is an increasingly important industry in Wisconsin, as Wisconsin generated $20 billion in tourism in 2021 in the third largest sector in the state. A lot of international attention are drawn from Summerfest, and EA AirVenture draw a lot of international attention. Hundreds of thousands of visitors annually. Other attractions include the Harley-Davidson Museum, Lambeau Field, Milwaukee Art Museum, the National Railroad Museum, and the Wisconsin State Capitol in Madison. Our tourist attractions include the studio of architect Franklin White at Tullison, House on the Rock, built near Spring Green, Wisconsin, and the Circus World Museum. Of course, the deltas of the Wisconsin River attract more than 4 million visitors with the water tours and numerous theme parks. You have Devil's Lake State Park, one of the most visited state parks in the state. And of course, Door Peninsula. As a result, water recreation is very popular in Wisconsin. Hey, Kingsman, good afternoon from Liverpool, my dude. Good to see you. Looks like the Reds might just win the Premier League title today if they can get a win against Spurs. I know Spurs has been absolutely rubbish all year, so I don't think it's going to be that difficult for the Reds to win the league title. I don't think it should be that difficult. Shouldn't be that difficult. Don't think so. But we're enjoying our time here in Wisconsin. We started back in Door County. We went down and visited Green Bay, home of the Packers. The only community-owned sports team in the United States. We then visited Oshkosh. We're heading down to Wisconsin Dells. Flying through here today. Just enjoying our time here. Yeah, champions of Premier League for the second time. It's the second time it's happened for them to win the Premier League the second time. I know they've won a ton of English titles, but this would only be their second Premier League title from Liverpool. I'm still interested in checking out the city in about a month, so I'm about just over a month away. I'm still very excited to visit. Happy to check that out. But I do have a bit, but I really enjoyed this weekend, and I'm having a good time just chilling with you guys. You guys definitely make things a lot happier for me. Yep, champions of the Premier League, only for the second time. So pretty nice to say about this as well. Yeah, I think I'm what I want to do for Wednesday. I have some options for Wednesday's stream. I mean, I want to take I want to do some stuff out of Bristol, so probably want to take the Sky Courier out of Bristol. Do some fun with that plane, Bristol to maybe Bristol to Birmingham or something like that. Take some Sky Courier stuff, and then Liverpool over to Dublin. It's just I haven't done a lot of the Sky Courier. I'm gonna take that out too. So maybe, who knows? Maybe it's Dublin to Liverpool to Bristol, probably. I want to do something out of Bristol because Bristol's one of our hubs. So haven't done a lot of flying. It's just the issue was Wednesday. I was really worried about the airliners not working because of the whole issue. Oh, what airlines do you fly? Well, in 2020, I flew, John, I think the airlines I flew in 2020 were mainly the 737 and the PMG 737 and, 777. But I also occasionally did flow the 78s, and 747s from 2020. I was actually supposed to fly the 737 MAX 8 on Wednesday from Madrid to Manchester for that Champions League, but unfortunately caused a graphics drivers issue thing, so that didn't work. Then I tried the 7.8, then I had another crash, so I had to switch to the Cessna Citation, which I definitely enjoyed flying the Cessna Citation. I wanted to do some of the airliner stuff, and I'm a Boeing guy, so I don't really fly Airbus at all. So I don't fly Airbus, so probably why I was a little bummed on Wednesday. Yeah, yeah, the i4X should be in 24. That would be interesting to see for sure. Yeah, it's gonna take a while, but I'll still wait patiently. I mean, I don't have to fly the Giknas just yet. I can fly the Skycur, the Cessna 208, Saab. I can fly those regional stuff too. Just I'm just excited for that day when it comes. So we're gonna head to Wisconsin Dells. So if you guys aren't aware about Wisconsin Dells, it's located in multiple counties in Wisconsin, taking its name from the dells of the Wisconsin River, a scenic gorge that features sandstone formations along the banks of the Wisconsin rivers, and it's a popular Midwest tourist destination home to several water parks and tourist attractions. The population is around 2,900 people. However, during summertime, this greatly increases in the summertime, and it's been a major summer tourist destination even since the 19th century, but it really grew during the 20th century. Lots of people like to come here for especially for the traveling show, Tommy Bartlett's Thrill Show. But nowadays it has a large number of water parks, other tourist destinations all over the city. They also offer duck tours to visit the Wisconsin River, tons of water parks, and more. Really big stuff here. Here's the dells of the Wisconsin, so we should fly briefly over them and see what's. Here's the dells of the Wisconsin rivers. These are the dells. Even been some river running here. Here is Wisconsin Dells. Here's some of the famous water parks in. And here's what tons of water parks, theme parks, all that sort of stuff. We'll continue this way for another 32 nautical miles to our second stop at Middleton Airport. Charlie 29. Let's talk a little bit about Wisconsin's culture, though, as we're going to get a little bit closer. So let's go ahead and let's head our way over to beautiful Wisconsin. Our badge rolls. Just for fun. Where are the water parks and theme parks? They're not really displayed here. They're all within the Wisconsin Dells area. Hard to fly over, but a lot of them's around the western half. Mount Olympus we just passed. Noah's Ark and all that. It's just hard to fly when you don't have an autopilot or it goes pretty quick. I do apologize for that, John, but they're in Wisconsin Dells, and there's a lot of them in. Noah's Ark is particularly probably the most well-known water park. And that water park features one of the biggest. It is the largest outdoor water park. It's absolutely huge. It features 70 acres of land, and it features the biggest water park. It was one of the largest wave pools. They had tons of attractions like lazy rivers, tons of water slides. I do apologize we get past them. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of places you can take your daughter for the summer. Wisconsin Dells would be pretty good, though it will be a long drive from Texas, I bet. That's not a bad spot. Wisconsin Dells is a good spot. That's not bad at all. Door County is we started in Door County, which is the Cape Cod. However, that's an even longer drive for out of Texas. That would be a long drive for something in Texas. I don't know where you want to go because there's also Holland, Michigan. Holland, Michigan would be pretty interesting. Michigan at that time is supposed to be pretty nice up there in Michigan. Should be pretty good to visit. Holland, Michigan. So that's also pretty nice to visit. That's in Michigan. Got a lot of Dutch stuff, and it's not far from the beaches enough. That wouldn't be too bad. Oh, you would fly. Okay, that would give you a lot more options. Holland, Michigan would be good. Like, a lot of the areas in Michigan would be pretty nice. A day trip to Mackinac Island would be pretty cool to visit. The old town and such. That would be pretty nice to visit. Like, a lot of these I haven't visited much up in the north. Because our family lives in Indiana. We moved south. I also know Minnesota might have a few interesting things as well in Minnesota. Like I said, try to find something family friendly. Oh, nice. I didn't know you'd been to Holland before. Yeah. Holland was actually a place I think my family was wanting to go for a weekend trip into Michigan. We've never been that far. Oh, here's Devil Lake State Park. This is really cool. Here in Wisconsin. This is actually a really pretty park here in Wisconsin. But yes, if you aren't aware about Wisconsin's geography, a lot of this area is shaped by the glaciers and stuff. And that's why some parts of the state are actually quite hilly. You wouldn't think that'd be the case in Wisconsin, but no, it's true. And there's Devil's Lake. That's just pretty. Yeah, there's some interesting places up north as well. Door County's like that. Door County's got a lot of Cape Cod, but for the Midwest. Wisconsin Dells family friendly. That's also interesting one. I try to find somewhere cool and not have to worry about the weather. I know New York also has the Adirondacks, which is really pretty. If you ever got a chance to visit up here in the Sim, the Adirondacks are really gorgeous. I don't know about flying though; be a little more difficult. I guess you could fly into Albany, go up for up there. That would also be a good one to recommend for the summer. I don't think the heat would be as big of a deal in the. I don't think it'd be that bad. Hope not. Like I said, a lot of these places I have not visited before. Just keep in mind about me. But I mean, during the summer, it looks pretty decent in the weather, not too hot out. Just trying to keep things realistic with the weather. I mean, yeah, Wisconsin's definitely cool. We're going to be landing at Charlie 29. We're landing at Moray Airport, actually, just Moray Field, just right outside of Madison, Wisconsin. So if you guys like this stream and want to continue to support the channel, smash that follow button. We stream 7 days a week here on Twitch. We stream 3 days a week on Twitch, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays here on Twitch. So here's my Discord if you guys want to join on in. We're in Wisconsin. Next week we'll be for our 50 states, 50 streets. We'll fly in California and Minnesota. The California stream will definitely happen, but I will do California, but I'll have to get that ready as soon as I get home. So expect an unexpected announcement when we get back home. So, because I'm going to be in Nashville that night, we might have to stay over for the night. And well, and plus the drive from Nashville to home is about 3 hours. So I might, if in the best case scenario, if for example, if I leave Nashville at 9, I'll probably get home around like 12 or 1 o'clock. So I might have a bit of a later stream on that Sunday. So, like I said, don't usually stream this late on a Sunday, but I have no other choice. I want to get this done. Or I could also stream that 50 states on a Wednesday. And cancel the Sunday stream. And cancel that Sunday stream for. And cancel the Sunday stream just in case. Maybe I do that. Maybe Wednesday we do the 50 states on Wednesday and Friday. Now, in case if I don't get home till later, I don't have to stream late that day. we're going to head over to Moray Field here in Middleton. Here's our information for Middleton Municipal Airport, located 5 miles northwest of Middleton, Wisconsin, in Dane County. This airport was named after founder Howard Moray, who started the airport in 1942, and changed him within the family from his son of Howard, then to Richard Moray, and it was sold to the city in 1988, and it was changed to Middleton Municipal Airport, but it still keeps Moray Field. And it's mainly used for general aviation purposes. I thought this was a nice little airport to fly into as we head to Milwaukee. So we'll stop here for stop number 2, and then we'll prepare for the last leg to Madison, Wisconsin. To Madison and Milwaukee. Here, guys, our next stop. And we can see Lake Mendota. There's Lake Mendota right in the distance. They're going to have to refill the fuel tanks when we get. So here are your guys. Stop number 2 here in Middleton Airport. We'll stay here for a minute or two. Oh, nice, Typhon. That's pretty cool to hear. I don't have the mod for it though, but will you get the PMG 772? I mean, that's a good question. Well, the major issue for this is that this is for MSFS 2020 and not for MSFS 2024. So, no. And that's because I'm fully switched into 2024, and the 777-200ER is going to be coming out for, and that is coming out for 2020. So no. I'm fully into 2024. So I'm not taking, I'm not bringing that in. No. But thank you for asking that question. So that is your question, Typhon. I'm happy to answer that. So we're going to go ahead and prepare for the last leg of the trip. We're going to go ahead and prepare for the last leg. Let's go to Madison, Wisconsin. Or is it? Oh, is it releasing for 2024? Um, if that's coming out for 2024, that might be a deal, but I don't know. I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait and see. If it comes out for 2024, I might get it. But I don't know. I haven't installed a lot of MSF's 2024 add-ons just yet. I'm trying to wait until they get more into the sim. I might start adding the Goffrin's planes first, but I'm not gonna rush myself doing it first. There's tons of aircraft in the sim I still haven't actually flown very much. So we have Madison, Wisconsin. So we're flying to the capital, Wisconsin, Madison, home of 269,000 people, the second most populous city in Wisconsin after Milwaukee. It's located in an isthmus surrounded by Lake Mendota, Lake Monoma, Lake Wingra, Lake Kegonsa, and Lake Wabasa. Madison was founded in 1836 and named after President James Madison. As state capital, it's home to the government chambers of the Wisconsin State Capitol Building, and it's home to the flagship campus, University of Wisconsin-Madison. Other cultural institutions include the Henry Villa Zoo, Madison Museum of Contemporary Art, Old Bridge Botanical Gardens, and the Wisconsin Historical Museum. Madison has the most parks and playgrounds per capita of any of the 100 largest cities in the U.S. Very bicycle friendly. It also has 9 national historic landmarks, including several buildings designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, who's also a Wisconsin native himself. And Madison's long been a center of progressive political activity here in the state, and it's the most politically liberal city in Wisconsin, as well as Wisconsin's fastest growing city. And it's a major area for technology. So yeah, Madison's definitely a really important state. Here it is, guys. We're gonna fly over Madison. Here's the University of Wisconsin. You can see that we're going to see the famed football stadium, Camp Randall Stadium, home of the Badgers. Wisconsin. I just have to pause and just take some pictures. You guys know me and I love taking pictures in the sim. Capture some memorable moments and stuff. But yeah, I didn't know about that John's going to be coming for MSF 24. I might be interested, but I'm curious about the price. But if it's coming out for 2024, that's huge. That might be a point I got. And finally, of course, here's the picture of the state capital, Wisconsin. So here is Madison. Here's the Wisconsin capital. There's another great speech. We're going to fly off into Milwaukee now. Head back. Let's go ahead and talk about Wisconsin's culture while we're at it, as we head over to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So there's definitely some really cool culture, and Wisconsin is definitely a state. If you bought for 2020, there will be a big discount. But I don't have 2020. I've uninstalled it, so I'm guessing I have to pay the full price. But oh well. So was culturally wise, Wisconsin is the traditional province of dairy farm and cheesemaking are a big part of Wisconsin's culture, which led to the nickname the Cheeseheads. And yes, Packer fans like to wear the cheesehead hats. There's also numerous ethnic festivals celebrating the heritage of the civilians, including Summerfest, Oktoberfest, Polish Fest, Festa Italia, Irish Fest, Bastille Days, Centenad Mai, which is Norwegian Constitution Day, Bratwurst Days, Polka Days, and more. Yes, there's a lot of ethnic festivals here in Wisconsin. Yeah, there's a lot of different ethnic festivals and all that here. And yes, for those cheese hats, that's because Packers fans love wearing these things. Wisconsinites never like wearing cheese heads, but Packer fans especially like wearing those for the Packers. Of course, a major part of the culture here in Wisconsin has been alcohol. Drinking culture is a big deal in Wisconsin, more so than our states, because the state ranks at or near the top of national measures of per capita alcohol consumption of alcohol per state, and the proportion of drinkers. However, consumption per capita per event is actually one of the lowest in the nation, and the number of events is significantly higher than most, but consumption is even smaller. Factors include the state's heritage of German immigration, long-standing presence of major breweries, and cold climate make the prevalence of drinking alcohol in Wisconsin. Of course, many large breweries have got their start here in Wisconsin, including Milwaukee. So that's why Milwaukee's nickname is Brew City, thanks to companies such as Miller Brewing, Pabst Brewing Company, Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, and Jacob Leinenkugel Brewing Company. All began as local businesses in Milwaukee before entering national markets. And nowadays, there's now more proper craft brews found in the city. Of course, Wisconsin legal drinking age is 21, except accompanied by a parent, guardian, or spouse who's at least 21. So, yeah. Alcohol drinking is a big part of the culture. I mean, to be fair, it's the legacy of much of its immigration to Wisconsin. In terms of cuisine, of course, it's famous for cheese. And cheese and dairy products make Milwaukee's Wisconsin cuisine very famous. Particularly Colby cheese, which was first created in Wisconsin in 1885. It was named after Colby, Wisconsin. And Brick cheese, which was first created in the state in 1877. If you are aware of Colby cheese, basically Colby cheese is mainly used nowadays for snacks, salads, and sandwiches. It was developed by eliminating the cheddaring process used to make cheddar cheese, instead partially draining the whey after the curd is cooked, then adding cold water to decrease the mixture's temperature to make a moister, softer cheese. And one famous derivative, is Colby Jack cheese, by mixing Colby and Monterey Jack curds and pine cottage cheese, which was developed in Michigan. In addition to this as well, the state is the only producer of Limburger cheese in the United States, which is a very well-known Belgian cheese, and it's infamous for strong smell. One popular variant that can be eaten as a snack as cheese curds are curdled milk, and they often covered in batter or fried, often served with ranch dressing, and it's very popular for a lot of appetizers. Get them at Culver's, funnily enough. Get the old cheese curds. Very good. Very good to have. Also, Wisconsin's the leading top producer and consumer of bratwurst, and a major producer of summer sausage. Of course, cranberries are quite popular as a fruit, as makes sense with cranberries, with Wisconsin being the leading producer of cranberries. And of course, a tradition throughout Wisconsin is the Friday night fish fry, either fried perch or walleye tradition all across Wisconsin. And of course, you can have them in supper clubs. And finally, more importantly, too, in Wisconsin, you can also find the Butterburger, which basically is a hamburger topped with butter, and they're very popular among the northern states, and you can find them in Culver's, which is basically a Midwest fast food chain, which is pretty cool to think about. In terms of recreation here, there's tons of recreation here in the state. In fact, thanks to its varied landscape, winter events like skiing, ice fishing, snowmobile derbies are very popular here. Also, thanks to its rich coastline, which is the fourth longest coastline of any U.S. state, behind Alaska, Michigan, and Florida. So water recreation is really important. And other outdoor activities like hunting and fishing are very popular. In fact, there are about 600,000 deer hunting licenses sold in Wisconsin. Not as much as Michigan, but still very well known for recreation. And finally, sports are a big deal here too in culture. Of course, Wisconsin's represented by 3 major league teams in 3 sports: football, American football, basketball, and football. 2 of those teams are located in Milwaukee. Brewers and Bucks are in Milwaukee. And then finally, the football, well, that's found all the way in Green Bay. Yes, the small city franchise in the NFL. Up in Green Bay. Packers. The state also has minor league teams in hockey and baseball. And they're also pretty well known. In terms of college sports, there are multiple Division I programs, but the most notable in the state is by far Wisconsin, as they play in the Big Ten Conference. And they have a very successful football program, too. The Marquette also had a successful basketball program, too, which also produced Dwayne Wade. In addition to collegiate sports, they also had the Milwaukee Mile Oval Track, opened back in 1903, the oldest operating motorsports venue in the world, as well as having another famous track, Road America, which has hosted many races from IndyCar to other events. But yes, sports are a pretty big deal here in the U.S. state of Wisconsin. And then finally, we have transportation to talk about here too. So in terms of transportation, Wisconsin has 8 commercial airports, but by far the biggest is Milwaukee Mitchell. Then you have smaller airports in Dane County, Appleton, and then other airports also include Green Bay, Struble, Eau Claire, La Crosse, and a few others. Wisconsin is also served by many intercity bus operators, providing service to 71 stops in 50 cities. And the state is served by 8 interstate highways of 5 primary routes and 3 auxiliary routes throughout the state. So yeah, that's about Wisconsin's transportation. Finally, of course, is some fun facts about Wisconsin. So we have a couple more slides. So Wisconsin has some interesting fun facts about the Badger State. The American Birkebeiner, a 52K cross-country ski race between Cape and Hayward, is the largest on the North American continent. There's cross-country skiing that's in the wintertime. Wisconsin's home to the Hamburger Hall of Fame, located in Seymour, Wisconsin. Monroe, Wisconsin is known as the Swiss cheese capital of the world. Noah's Ark in Wisconsin Dells is the nation's largest water theme park. Absolutely huge. Noah's Ark is colossal. The nation's largest music festival is located in Milwaukee, Summerfest, with an average of 2,500 performers. And finally, how about a mustard museum at Mount Horace, which contains more than 2,300 varieties of mustard, and it celebrates National Mustard Day in August. Yes, a whole museum dedicated to mustard. I'm not kidding. And finally, for some notable people, there are a lot of people from Wisconsin, including Harry Houdini from Appleton, Jackie Mason, comedian from Sheboygan. How about the Ringling Brothers of Charles and John from Baraboo? Painters Georgia O'Keeffe from Sun Prairie. How about the longtime voice of summer, Bob Uecker, who unfortunately passed away this year? You know him as the voice of the Brewers. Unfortunately, Bob Uecker passed away. He is actually from Milwaukee, born and raised Milwaukee fan. definitely a legend in that book. William Defoe, actor from Appleton. You better know him as Green Goblin. Gloria Sell Hildegard, singer from Adele. Bailey or Woody Herman from Milwaukee. Dawn Amici, actor from Kenosha. Harry Cat, women's suffrages from Ripon. And finally, legendary musician Les Paul from Waukesha. Yeah, that's some of the famous people from Wisconsin. Yeah, I haven't had much time to look at the exterior and stuff. It's hard when this plane always keeps turning left. Because I don't have autopilot. I don't want to use. I wanted to fly different planes since normally I don't get to fly a wide variety of planes. So, we're about 41 nautical miles from our final stop. We're not getting too much far away from Milwaukee, the most populous city in all of Wisconsin. Like I said, thank you guys so much for coming along here on this Sunday stream. I know we got quite a bit of things going on. finally, we're going to get to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So our final stop is going to take us to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the most populous city in the state with 577,000 people, the 31st most populous city in the country, and the 5th most populous city in the Midwest. Its metro area is 1.57 million people, and it's a very ethnically and culturally diverse city. However, it continues to be, ironically, one of the most racially segregated cities due to the large early 20th century redlining, which is very much discriminatory. Its history was heavily influenced by German immigrants in the 19th century. It continues to be a center for German American culture, especially its brewing industry. In recent years, it went through several development projects, and several new additions to the city for the 21st century include the Wisconsin Center, American Family Field, home of the Brewers, the Hop streetcar system, and an expansion to the Milwaukee Art Museum, Briley Symphony Center, and Discovery World, as well as a new facility, First Surf Forum, in 2018. It's home to lots of other events like Summerfest, one of the nation's largest music festivals, as well as home to several colleges and professional sports teams. So yeah, that's just what's Milwaukee, very important city for the United. And then of course, our final stop is at Milwaukee's historic Lawrence J. Timmerman Airport, built in 1929. It's one of 25 projects in U.S. cities by Curtis Wright. It was originally known as Curtis Wright Field. However, it was sold to Footways in 1945. And it's a main GA airport. It was also home to some of EA's earliest flying conventions, 1953 to 1958. Yes, the earliest of the EA adventures start here in Milwaukee. Currently mainly used by general aviation groups. GA Aviation mainly operates out of this airport. Mainly those of Youth Aviation and Civil Air Patrol currently use. That's it. That's all the slides here for Wisconsin. Let's go ahead, guys, and explore the beautiful city. We're going to check out the city of Milwaukee. And Summerfest has technically been around since 1968. 555,000 people attended it, and many bands attend the festival. For Maroon in 2024, hosting bands like Maroon 5, Kane Brown, Goo Goo Dolls, Alice in Wonderland, REO Speedwagon, and many more. I mean, there have been lots of famous artists that come here for recent. Lots of bands visit here. Tons of bands from all sorts of different genres and all that come here to visit. Here it is, guys, Wisconsin. Oh yeah. Yeah, Liverpool's look like the win the league title. They're up 3-1 on Tottenham. Yeah, Liverpool's gonna win the Premier League title this year. But for all you in Liverpool. Here it is, guys. American Family Field, home of the Brewers. Fun fact, I remember that All-Star game back in 2002. It was a tie game, an All-Star game that ended in a tie. See the stadium to our left. That's the baseball stadium. Here it is, guys, downtown Milwaukee. On this way for number 16. And we're going to land at runway 33 right. I'll land there. Oh, so it is a native product for 2024. Okay. I might get it, which is big. So yeah, I might get the 200 ER just because it is native to 2024. I guess I'll probably get it. But at some point, I may want to install some of the Godfriend's aircraft. Because I'm curious, I have a lot of Graf Friends Bush planes. So I wonder if they're going to be compatible for. Here we go, guys. Our final landing of the day. And that's it, guys. Welcome to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, everyone. So, guys, thank you all so much for joining on in today for another 50 States and 50 Streams. We will be officially making our return Wednesday. We'll be in the Cessna Skycruiser Wednesday. So we're gonna say hello. We're gonna go raid someone. So take care, everyone, and see you all on Wednesday. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Take care and goodbye.